Good morning, guys. Welcome back to Lick Branch Farms. We got an exciting video planned for you today. It is the end of February, and everybody knows around here it's time to start getting your potatoes in the ground. We cut these seed potatoes last week, and if you missed that video, I'll put a link to it at the end of this one so you can go back and watch it. But in this video, we're going to get our seed potatoes planted, and I'm going to give you 3 tips that's going to make your potato crop successful. Welcome back, guys. So we're down here at the plot where we're going to plant our potatoes, and if you remember correctly, in a video or 2 back I said that we planted our potatoes on 100-foot rows, and this is the plot where we're going to put our potatoes at. I was originally going to put them in this plot here, which you can tell the vegetation hasn't completely died off in it yet, so we had this other plot ready, and I told you then that, you know, either or, we would use either or, and I feel like this will be a better place anyway, because you can see how loose this soil is, and potatoes like a loose granular soil, almost on the side of sandy loam, and this soil over here you can tell has a lot of clay in it, and that would be good for some crops. And I think what I'm gonna do is save this one for like cantaloupes or watermelons or something like this. But yeah, we've got plenty of room here. We got 6 100-foot rows laid out, and I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna explain to you how I did this. All right, so normally I don't use the Kubota to plant potatoes. I normally use my Super A, which it has front cultivators on it, so I can put the disc healers on it, and my bottom plow on the back, so I can pull up a hill and I can make a furrow all in one pass. But this year I wanted to lay off market beds like we normally do in, you know, all the other gardens when we plant broccoli or, you know, cauliflower, anything like that that we put in a market bed. And that's what this is. It's 30 inches wide, and you can see they're pretty uniform. They're pretty straight and level all the way across. And what I have done is went back and used my bottom plow with a small cultivator, like a batwing cultivator, and went through and made a furrow in each one of those beds. Now this is identical to that. That's how both of them started out the same way. Only difference is I went through with my bottom plow and I pulled a furrow up in each one of these rows. Now eventually that's what we'll do for all, well, the last 4. But what I do is take the rototiller and I come down this row, and once I come through with the rototiller, I turn around, lift the rototiller, and drive back through that row. And my tire tracks are 30 inches apart, so that's how I make those beds. Nothing real scientific. I mean, it just works out perfect that way. And in planting potatoes, you're going to need some soil later on down the road to heal these potatoes. And we'll get into that a little bit further here in just a little bit, but we are going to plant in this furrow. We're going to fertilize in the furrow. We're going to plant our seed potatoes in the furrow, and then we're going to cover these seed potatoes up with 2-3 inches of soil. And that brings me to tip number 1. Tip number 1 is going to be plant your seed potatoes when your soil temperature is just about right. Now, believe it or not, potatoes are in the nightshade family. They're in the same family as tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, things of that nature. But unlike tomatoes and peppers, they prefer to be grown in cool weather instead of super hot weather. Potatoes don't like hot weather, so we try to start our potatoes as early as we can. And as you've seen, the ground temperature here is hovering right at 60 degrees, which is perfect. I mean, we can plant green beans at 70 degrees. So we got a 60-degree ground temperature, which is good. I mean, we can plant potatoes in that. The other thing we have to worry about, though, is a lot of moisture. Now, early spring, here specifically, we get a lot of early season rainfall, and I've checked the 10-day forecast, and we got some absolutely beautiful weather coming. I mean, we talking lows in the upper 50s and highs in the lower 70s for, you know, 5-6 days consecutively. So that's only going to help And I picked today specifically because we have some rain coming in late this evening. Not a lot, just enough to wet things down. So if we can get our seed potatoes in the ground right now, get everything fertilized, and this evening they get watered in good, we should be off to the races. All right, guys, so we got all 6 rows. We got the furrows put in all 6 rows. Now, the next step, and that brings me to tip number 2, is to fertilize, pre-plant fertilize. Potatoes, like cabbage and broccoli and cauliflower and things of that nature, they are heavy feeders. They feed really heavy once established. Now, we want to make sure that these seed potatoes, once they sprout, well, I say sprout, but once they root, we want to make sure that they have adequate fertilizer there to help them go ahead and get established and get a good root base going to be able to put off all these potatoes that we want. All right, guys, so this is what we're going to use to go down through these rows. And I know you've seen me use this in the past, and what it will do is we're going to go through there and we're going to blend that chicken litter down through there. We're going to blend it in, and when we get done, it's going to look like this. Now, we're going to do all 6 rows this way, and what this does is it gives us an opportunity to have a fluffy, loose seed bed to put our seed potato in. And you'll see we'll basically take that seed potato and we'll push it in and twist it. That gives it a good contact with the soil and keeps the air out from under it, so we don't have any fear of anything rotting. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and knock all these rows out real quick, and then we'll be ready to put potatoes in the ground. So this is a part of the video we're going to talk about the 3rd tip, and that is not to bury your seed potatoes too deep. Don't put them in so deep that they run out of gas trying to get up to the top. You see this piece of seed potato here, you see how it's already starting to root. Now a lot of people think that the actual root comes out of here, and that's not true. It comes out of the bottom of the sprouts that you see right here. So once you put that in the ground, you know, you don't want to put this thing in so deep that these pieces of sprout, they run out of energy trying to get up to the sunlight, because this right here is what they're living off of, that piece of potato. And that's why I told you earlier when we were cutting these seed potatoes, don't cut them too small, because this is what that potato sprout is living off of, the energy that's in this piece here. So once this dries up and it doesn't have anything left, this piece will die, and we don't want that. All right, so I got some help down here now. We're gonna go down here, and she's a potato expert. She's gonna set them out. I showed her how to set them a foot apart, so we're gonna start staggering them. We got potatoes here, and we got them on the back of the golf cart. You know, you can see already stacked up. So as we going down through here, we could just drive the golf cart down here and put them. But we should have enough for all 6 rows. Yeah, that pole right there, start at that pole, and then do it about every foot all the way down there. You can do that. Either one, don't matter. Put them in the ground now.
You need another basket like this to drag.
If you see any rocks, and I'll pick that out too. It'll just help out later on down the road.
Now I can do two.
You got caught up trying to do 2 rows at one time.
Yep.
Jason's normally
long
out
rows.
Here. He's normally out here helping plant potatoes. He's helped me since he was what, 4 years old?
Mm-hmm.
He's at the beach today, so he can't help.
Yeah, he just got through fishing on the pier. He had a lot more fun than we did.
Yeah. Alright, so we got all the seed potatoes in a row. Basically starting on that first row, covering those up, but you can see a foot apart, 100-foot rows, 100 pound of seed potatoes, and we got this little bit right here left over. That's it. And she's gonna use them up there in one of her raised beds. So, alright guys, so we just finished covering all 6 rows. So that is 6 100-foot rows of Red Norland potatoes planted 1 foot apart. And it took 100 pounds of seed potatoes. Alright, so that's going to do it for this video, but be sure to check back in with us towards the end of the week. We're going to get started on everyone's favorite in the next video, tomatoes. We're going to plant some determinate tomatoes in our high tunnel in about 3 days, so you don't want to miss that. So guys, if you missed the video leading up into this where we prepped our seed potatoes for planting, I'll put a link to it up here. And if you found anything useful or anything entertaining, or just want to know more about our farm, click the subscribe button over here. As always, we appreciate you guys stopping by. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.